Hey there, this is a Chapter 3 review, just some of the key targets. We'll start off with 3.7 AB. We'll start off with the first part of that, 3.7a, which is just completing tables. So in order to complete a table like this, you've got your X and your Y, and on this chart here, they're actually giving you a little space to go ahead and insert the variable and complete the work. So I'll go ahead and do a couple of these. You just take and put a set of parentheses where the X is, and then substitute in your X variable, just goes right in there. So 1 minus 1 is 0. Put the 2 into the parentheses. The 2 minus 1 is 1. Put the 3 in. 3 minus 1 is 2. And substitute the 4 in. 4 minus 1 is 3. Now another way that this table, you'll often see this table, is just an XY like this. And we just substitute it in our heads. We put the 1, 2, 3, and 4 down. And we substitute in the 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 minus 1 is 2, 4 minus 1 is 3. Either way, it works. This table here, they're just giving you the opportunity to graph these guys out. Let me just take a quick look at these. Looks good. Doesn't look like you're going to run into any negative numbers, so that's an easy one for you to complete. This one down here is just a great little sheet on 3.7b, the basics of it. We already know that this is going to have a slope of 1, and the y-intercept is going to be at minus 2. It's going to be down here. And the reason we know that is because when we make a little xy chart, I'll make the simple one here, and we take and we'll put 0 in for x. That's the most important x value. When you put 0 in, 0 minus 2 is minus 2. So those are those coordinates, 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2 right here. And of course you can put a 1 in. 1 minus 2 is minus 1, and make that into a 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. So we can graph out these 3 points. 0, negative 2. We have that. 1, negative 1. And 2, 0. Let's graph that. Sorry, my line's a little bit off there, but it's pretty close. Remember, when you have a set of coordinate pairs like that, you're going to go over first to the right or to the left, and then go up or down. Take a look at that a little more carefully. Draw it larger up here. It's positive, you're going to go to the right. If it's negative, you're going to go to the left. If it's positive, you're going to move up. If it's negative, you're going to go down. So if we have a set of coordinates like this, we are going to go back first because it's a negative, and then up. Okay? All right, let's keep rolling here. Let's do one of the harder ones down at the bottom. People always get freaked out about this one down here, 0.05x. All right, so we're going to make our little table here, my x and my y, and we get to pick the values. 0, 1, and 2 are great values to use. Okay, if you put 0 in there, what's 0.75x times 0? Well, what's 0 times anything? It's 0. So our first point is right at the origin. Okay, the next one, put 1 in. Now we have 0.75x, and we're going to put the 1 in times 1. Well, that's just 0.75. It's like 75 cents times 1. So we're going to go 0.75. We're going to go over 1 and up 0.75. So we don't go the whole way. See how I've got my dot just below that? I know it's small graph paper, but you can do it. Now I'll go ahead and put 2 in there. 0.75 times 2. And you can certainly use a calculator to do this if you'd like, but this is like 75 cents times 2, which is $1.50. So now I got to go over 2 and up 1.5. And you'll see that those points do form a line, and you can graph it. All right, let's keep moving on. Next target, like to practice, is 3.B2. This is a tough one. You won't be asked to write anything out this difficult in the test. You'll just have to look at them and understand what they are. Well, addition, we use the word sum. So we could say for this one, we have to write this into a verbal sentence. We could say that this is the sum of 3 and 10, because we added them together. The sum of 3 and 10 is equal to, we'll go ahead and cheat and use some signs, is equal to the product of 3 and G. Now that's the way I would write it. A kid might write it this way. The sum of G and 10 is equal to 3 times G. Or a kid might write G increased by 10 is equal to 3 times G. Okay? All right, let's try this next one. Here we have 2 times P, or I'm going to shorten that and I'm going to say twice P, because we did it 2 times, increased, or plus, 4 times Q, or I'm going to write it the product of 4 and Q, is 20. I could have written the number there. I'm okay if you write the numbers and the symbols to make life a little bit easier. This one here is going to have a set of brackets that you have to write. So this one I would probably write out as 4 times the sum of A and B is equal to the product of 9A. Or 4 times the sum of A and B is 9 times A. Okay? This one here, this is 8 decreased by the product of 6 and x is equal to the sum of 4 plus 2 times x. Okay? Or another way of writing it, 8 decreased by 6 times x is equal to 4 plus 2 times x. A couple different ways. This one's simpler than it looks. This is s squared minus n squared is equal to the product of 2 and b, or s squared minus n squared is equal to 2 times b. Down here you just have to match some things up. Take a look at those. We have 3 times a number is equal to 5. 3 times a number is equal to 5. That's got to be this one here. You can see it. 3 times a number is equal to 5, so that's A. 2/5 of a number, so I'm thinking of this. 2/5 of a number is the same as 7. 2/5 of a number is the same as 7. That's this one right here. 2/5 of a number is the same as 7. 4 times a number, so 4 times a number is identical to 5, equals 5, something like that. 4 times a number is equal to 5. Here we go, right there. So this one here is B. Let's see. This is B. One we just did was C. Let's see what D is. Negative 4 times a number, so this is going to be negative 4 times a number, is 5. That's not that tough. That's got to be over there someplace. So this would be D. Negative 4 times a number is the opposite of 5. So negative 4 times a number is the opposite of 5. Well, if this is 5, the opposite of 5 has got to be negative 5. So that's down here. And 4/5 of a number, so here's 4/5 of a number, is equivalent to 5. So 4/5 of a number is equal to 5. So that's going to be right up here. And that would be F. Okay, the last page for your review would be just simply understanding the difference between the area of rectangles, the area of squares, the area of trapezoids, and the area of triangles. Kids get confused. Here's a square. I'm going to give you one measurement, and I'm going to tell you I only need to know what the side is. I'm going to put a little tick marks on here. That's going to show you that all those sides are the same. So the area of a square, you just multiply those two sides together. That's 16. 4 4 times 4 is 16. Now let's take a look at a rectangle. Here's a rectangle. It's 2 by 8. We're just going to multiply those sides together. 2 times 8, that's 16. We can think of this as whatever the base is times the height. Base times height. All right, now let's take a look at a triangle. Zoom this in for you just a touch. Now we've got a triangle here. This triangle is 3 feet on the bottom. So if I apply this same formula, base times height, if I take 3 times 2, I'm actually finding the area of this square, or this rectangle, I guess. So 3 times 2 is 6. But we don't want the area of the rectangle. That's why you have to divide it by 2. So you take that 6, you divide it by 2, and you get the 3. Another way I like to do it is, I know at some point I have to divide. I'm an idiot and I forget to do it. So I just take one of the numbers and divide it. Now I don't have to divide. Now I could just take 3 times 1, which is 3. Here's another look at that. We'll go down here. We'll take something a little bit harder on the triangle. Well, I don't know what half of 7.5 is, but I can take this guy and I can cut that in half. Half of 12 is 6 and half of 2 is 1. So now I've just got to multiply 7.5 times 6.1. And this is a calculator target. I'm going to use one too. 6.1 times 7.5. 45.75. Let's just double check and see if that makes sense. 7 times 6 would be 42. So yeah, 45.75 is right in the ballpark. But if you just multiply these two numbers, I guarantee you the answer will be on the test, probably early, answer A or B, and it's going to be wrong because you will have found the area of that rectangle. Got to cut it in half. All right, continuing, so this formula here then is base times height divided by 2. Because of that, we've got to get rid of half of it, otherwise you'll find the area of a rectangle. All right, so let's take a look at this trapezoid up here. Now, its formula is, you can write it several ways, but the way you're going to see it in the MCA is 1/2 the height times the base plus the base. Let me write that out a little more clearly. 1/2 the height times, they're actually going to put a 1 there. They're going to put B1 plus B2. All right, so that means we have to take half of this height. So we're going to take 1/2 of 4, and we're going to multiply it by 6.5 plus 3. All right, well, what's 1/2 of 4? Half of 4 is 2. If you're not sure, you can always multiply them out. There's 1/2 of 4. That 1/2 of means multiply. So you could just, cross these out, put a 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1. I mean, you've got 2. 1/2 of 4 is 2. You can also take and write this as 0.5 and multiply it on your calculator, but you got to get half of the height somehow. So you got that, and we're going to take 6.5 plus 3. Well, 6 plus 3 is 9. If you add another half in there, you've got 9.5. All right. Now you just have to multiply them. Remember, the parentheses mean multiply. Well, 2 times 9 would be 18, and 2 halves would make 19. Now, another way to do this is to think of it this way. The height times the base plus the base, and then divide the whole mess by 2. Sometimes that's easier. I'll show you how that works on a calculator. All right, so we've got, let's just pop in here. The height is 4. How am I going to get this? I'm going to zoom out a little, folks. So I'll just put the 4 in. We'll take the 4. We're going to multiply it times the base plus the two bases, which is 9.5 times 9.5. You'll get 38. And guess what half of 38 is? When you divide that by 2, you're back to 19. Again, you're going to have to divide by 2 at some point. So, quick review. Go down here. 3.6 A and B. This is just going to be base times height. You're going to have to find the perimeter too by adding up all the sides. 11.1A. This is area of area of a parallelogram. Base times height. This is 4, this is 10. You just multiply those two together, that's 40. So this formula works for parallelograms and for rectangles. 1/2 the height times the base plus the base. This is the formula for finding the area of a trapezoid. Ask me for that on the test, I'll give it to you. You just have to be able to apply it because they're going to give it to you on the MCA. And finally, triangle. Base times height divided by 2. All right, thanks for listening.